We're quite often asked about SSAS, which is a small self-administered pension scheme. They're just the same as any other occupational pension scheme, but they're small. It's all in the name. You can only have up to 11 members. They do differ slightly from SIPPs because they are occupational rather than a personal scheme. So what we're looking at here is really what the differences are and why you should consider using a SSAS in certain circumstances. So the main difference between a SSAS and a SIPP or other personal pensions is the fact that you can do loan backs. A loan back is a generic term for basically making a loan from the pension scheme to the sponsoring employer. Because it's an occupational pension scheme, you have to have a sponsoring employer involved. So you can make a loan to them from the pension scheme. But there are many rules surrounding this. The rules became much more stringent in 2006 when we had the Pension Simplification and A Day. You do need to meet 5 different rules. So there's security. So you have to have a first charge on the asset that you are putting the loan against. This can actually technically be anything. So it could be an asset that's not owned by the company that you're making the loan to, but it does need to be a first charge. So if there's a mortgage on it, then you can't use it. You need to use a certain interest rate, and that interest rate is determined by the HMRC website. So it's the average bank base rate of the 5 top 10 banks plus a percentage. The term needs to be 5 years or less. The value, 50% of the value of the fund, and there needs to be capital and interest repayments every year equally for the term of the loan. So it's really good for financing your company, but it is a risk obviously on the pension scheme. If something happens to the company, you could lose the company, but you could also lose the investments within the pension scheme. So these things need to be considered very carefully when you're doing them. However, that is one of the main reasons why someone would have a SSAS rather than multiple SIPPs. You can also invest in shares of the sponsoring employer, but this is limited to 5% of the pension scheme's assets. So again, that would be a reason to do it because you wouldn't be able to necessarily do that within a SIPP because of the restrictions on the investments available. SSASs can be more appropriate in some circumstances. A lot of people have a rule of thumb that if you've got 3 people within a company looking to set up pension schemes, 3 SIPPs could be more expensive than 1 SSAS. However, you need to make sure that you've got trusted advisors involved in this and that you are doing all the appropriate reporting. I would always recommend that you use a professional trustee for this and a professional scheme administrator. I've seen so many people get into trouble by trying to do these things themselves and then HMRC coming to them because they've invested in things that are inappropriate. It can be very easy to invest in something that would be deemed a taxable property. Such as a residential property or something with a residential element, or even just investing in shares of a company that are inappropriate for a pension scheme. So just to round up, one of the main uses of a SSAS would be the loan backs or to invest in the sponsoring employer, and should you have multiple people within a pension scheme or within a company that want to invest within a single pension scheme. So they're right for some, but not right for everyone. We've got more details in our fundamentals on SSAS, so look that up on TechLink for more details to help you.